40 years ago, the founders of the Trust for Public Land conceived of a new kind of conservation organization, one focused on people rather than on biodiversity. They recognized the incredible value of the connection between people and nature. We work from the inner city out to the wilderness, wherever we can make that connection with nature. We create and protect open space close to home, and also those wild lands beyond the city limits where we can go for inspiration. The Trust for Public Land is aware of the critical need to create or to protect the places that people care about. This need is especially strong in our cities and in low-income neighborhoods where parks and open spaces are in very short supply. And it's also true beyond the city limits. The acceleration of development, especially at the growing edges of our suburban communities, has made our work even more crucial. We must create spaces where people can connect with nature and with each other. In order to accomplish this, we need the continued support of private and public partnerships, as well as the cooperation of communities and civic leaders. There are many reasons why people invest their resources in the Trust for Public Land. But the bottom line is, we get things done efficiently and effectively. We create $4 worth of land conservation for every dollar invested in the organization. We do this by leveraging private money against public money. Another large part of our success is tapping into the significant demand for conservation that supports communities and really focuses on people. Since we work in so many different areas across the country, we have a large variety of conservation strategies. But our fiscal strategies are what make us so effective overall. We make sure we get the biggest impact possible for every dollar we receive. And partnerships are also an absolutely critical strategy for the organization. And that's what allows us to really stretch our staff and our financial resources. In fact, we're also the leader in conservation finance. Since the mid-1990s, we've helped communities, states, counties raise over $35 billion of local money for conservation efforts. Throughout our history, we've recorded the fair market value and the acreage protected, which is over 3 million acres, valued at more than $7 billion. But it's not just a question of acreage. We measure our success by the number of communities we help and the number of people we touch. An even better metric is the more than 10 million people who are within a 10-minute walk or a half mile of one of our parks or open spaces. And over the next decade, we hope to double or even triple that number. Despite the scope and extent of our work, the Trust for Public Land flew largely under the public radar for years. For that reason, we've created a broader communication strategy to help more people understand who we are and what we do. Many people don't realize that we deal with incredibly diverse geographies. We work from Main Street to mountaintop, and we use a variety of strategies to preserve those landscapes. We aren't just a research organization, a conservation fundraiser, a park planning and building expert, or an acquisition specialist. We are all of those and more. Many conservationists may know one aspect of our work, but we hope that they will come to understand our full breadth and depth. We can talk about over 5,000 natural places that we've protected, from Thoreau's beloved Walden Woods to hundreds of thousands of acres of Montana wilderness, and the hundreds of playgrounds, community gardens, and parks, or the thousands of miles of trails. But when you really dig in, you see the human impact. For example, in New York City, we protected 70 community gardens from development. These gardens are oases of green in neighborhoods where people have no other parks. We also worked with the city to create 175 green playgrounds in neighborhoods where many of the children had never lived near a safe, green place to play. But most importantly, we've given millions of people a chance to connect with nature. The biggest challenges we face are population growth and development patterns that consume a lot of those special places that we grew up with. Our cities are becoming increasingly populous, and this means that many children are at risk of growing up without close-to-home access to a park or garden or a place to play. Our ongoing challenges are the normal ups and downs of political cycles and the challenges in securing public and private funding. But the good news is that cities understand the value of parks and open spaces. But without adequate financial resources, we can't take full advantage of this opportunity to impact millions more people. We have several major initiatives on the table. Over the next decade, we want to help create 10,000 fitness zones in cities across America. Fitness zones are a collection of outdoor health club-type equipment that we install in parks. They're particularly important for low-income neighborhoods where people don't have other alternatives for exercise. We also have a goal to help create 2,000 miles of new trails and greenways over the next 20 years. We have ambitious goals around water quality, farmland, and wilderness protection as well. Our ability to tackle this full range of challenges depends on how much donor support we receive. Our organization is already working across a broad spectrum of conservation efforts and a vast range of geographies. We'll need increased private philanthropic support to scale this work from impacting millions of people to tens of millions. From providing recreational outlets to protecting clean water, from creating natural spaces in dense urban environments to maintaining the sustainable resources of our working farms and ranches, we can do so much more with the support of engaged citizens and donors.